Hi, this is Fern G.Z.Carr. Welcome to my Northwood poetry reading, part 3 of 3. For more free writing resources to help and entertain you, please be sure to click subscribe. Okay, so this is a story that did happen in the Okanagan, and the road that I'm referring to has since been repaired, and you'll probably recognize the epigraph, the quote at the beginning of the poem. I call it Return to Sender. Quote, "Neither snow, nor rain, nor heat, nor gloom of night stays these couriers from the swift completion of their appointed rounds." Unquote. And that's the inscription on the General Post Office in New York City. No snow, no rain, no heat, no gloom of night, just good old-fashioned sunshine enveloped the mail truck as it doggedly grappled its way to the summit, passing conifers and homes nudged slightly askew by the mountain host. On a glorious Disney morning, flowers a-bloomin' and birds a-tweetin'. The postmistress steered her van with one hand while she sorted mail with the other. Experienced eyes darting back and forth. Road, mail, 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 until the road got lost in the mail and she found herself being returned to sender. Truck plummeting into the azure lake below. A splash, silence, eternity. Now she's but an anecdote, stamped into memory, local folklore shared with tourists on lazy summer days. Okay, so now I'm going to move across the ocean, and there's so many great poets, it's really hard to choose a favorite, but Pablo Neruda is one of mine. He, as you probably know, he fled Chile. He was in exile for 3 years. He traveled around Europe, and in 1952, he stayed in a villa on the Isle of Capri, and even made a fictional movie based on his life called Il Postino. Anyway, it inspired me to write this poem, and I call it Neruda on the Beach at Capri. A trembling sun drips beads of molten gold onto disc-shaped pebbles washed smooth by the surf that ebbs and flows with the sensuous rhythms of lovemaking. Sea foam caressing the feet of a man adored by all women, romanced by his red velvet words. Madre Chile's exile, he strolls along the beach at Capri, surrounded by cliffs that dwarf him. He is a towering giant. Well, besides doing poetry, I'm also a musician, and I play the piano, I sing, I have sung in choirs, and I always find a lot of joy in music. And I wrote this poem on a music staff in keeping with the musical theme, and it's called Cool Jazz. So I thought that was kind of a nice appearance for the poem. I wrote this poem after my husband and I came across an outdoor jazz concert, and the musicians just took joy to a whole new level. Oh, cool jazz. A curl of thin blue smoke snakes around a half-empty glass of stale scotch, and as the ice cubes melt, the lazy swooshing of a brush caresses percussion cymbals. The mellow plucking of thick strings on the double bass in counterpoint with the twang of an electric guitar and the pained expression on the guitarist's face. While sultry saxophone romances the house, confident fingers fly across the keyboard. Pianist, eyes closed, sways back and forth, entranced by the rhythm he creates. Shoulders heaving as he makes love to the piano. It's jazz, and it's cool, baby. Okay, so poetry and music, I find, go hand in hand. This poem that I wrote is a pantoum. It's a Malay verse form. It's pretty tricky to write. The second and fourth lines of each verse have to be repeated as the first and third lines of each subsequent verse, and then the pattern repeats itself. So it's very rhythmic. It lends itself to the music theme. On Little Hooked Feet. Quavers trip across a score on little hooked feet, scurrying across staves with mathematical precision, mindful of dynamics, accidentals, and beat. Eighths become sixteenths in rhythmic division. Scurrying across staves with mathematical precision, melodies are phrased and then they repeat. Eighths become sixteenths in rhythmic division, transforming arrangements into a lyrical suite. Melodies are phrased and then they repeat, as composer madly scribbles revision upon revision, transforming arrangements into a lyrical suite with melodic mastery and musical vision. As composer madly scribbles revision upon revision, mindful of dynamics, accidentals, and beat, with melodic mastery and musical vision, quavers trip across a score on little hooked feet. Now this next one is one of my favorite poems because it's in my book. The dedication is to the memory of my sweet Westies, Megan and Caitlin, who lovingly stayed by my side as I wrote this book. And my husband and son knew how I felt about my girls, so they had no problem with my dedicating my book to my dogs and not them. Morning rapture. The stillness of morning stirs and spills quiet light, displacing last night's gloom. I stretch and purr, basking in the velvety softness of yesterday's sleep, diaphragm rhythmically heaving. The sun streams through windows, blanketing me with its radiance, an energizing rebirth, even for the padded paws scrambling to greet me with sloppy kisses and welcome a new day. The morning is timid and peaceful, an intimate solitude not to be shared with those who sleep. Now this poem I dedicate to Mr. Walnick, who is my grade 7 science teacher. We had a class where he asked everybody to describe the color red, so of course students were pointing to things saying that's red and all that. And he said no. And then I realized how difficult it is to articulate the essence of an actual color. So then I thought, I wonder how a blind person would perceive color. So I like to think that I captured the joy of red in this poem that I call A Blind Man Describes Red. Teach me red, said the blind man. Describe red to me. Certainly. Red is a cherry, a stop sign, ketchup. No, said the blind man. That is not the essence of red. I will describe red to you. Red is palpable. It's the flush of passion in a lover's breast, the convulsive fury of a charging bull, the bite of jalapeno on the tongue. Red is the fiery radiance of tropical summers, and red is the cosmic life force pumping through us all. That is red. That is the red you do not see. But I do, said the blind man. And I'm going to finish with one of my philosophical poems. I was incredibly honored that Pierre de Huisseau, the former parliamentary poet laureate, chose this as Poem of the Month for Canada. It was also a contest winner for Canada and Italy, both for my English and Italian versions. I've since translated it into Spanish, where it was published by the University of Wisconsin Language Department, and I also translated it into Mandarin with a lot of help from my teacher, Anna. So the poem ponders the nature of our existence, and it's called I Am. I am the stars, the wind, a crystal, a blade of grass, a feather. I'm entropy, a random assortment of oxygen, carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, and trace elements in a body that happens to exist at this point in time. Its individuality organically interconnected to the universal. I'm a body that possesses limited cognition, an integral but trivial speck of infinity. I'm a part of the universe. I am the universe. I exist. I am.
Hey everyone, thanks very much for watching. For more free writing resources to help and entertain you, please be sure to click subscribe. My poetry book, Shards of Crystal, is available worldwide at retail bookstores and libraries through Ingram Spark iPage distribution and also from Amazon.